Andor Season 2 just received its release date.
Let's go! Let's go.
Over this weekend, Star Wars fans got some massive updates for upcoming Star Wars projects. From Skeleton Crew to The Mandalorian and Grogu, to most importantly, Andor Season 2. D23 Brazil did not disappoint.
Oh my god, what is that? Oh my god! What is that?
Well, D23 is Disney's version of a Comic-Con, and the announcements and updates are just for Disney IP, like Pixar, Marvel, and why you're all here today, Star Wars. And although a new trailer for Skeleton Crew, Andor Season 2, and The Mandalorian and Grogu movie were all shown to the people at D23 in Brazil, none of those trailers were released publicly. However, we did receive a massive update for Andor Season 2. Not only how many episodes this show is going to be, but also how this second season is going to work, and hints at possible appearances of legacy characters. But we'll get to all that in a second. Let's start with the release date. The biggest piece of news for Star Wars fans from this weekend is this release date. Andor Season 2 will begin on April 22nd of 2025. Now you might be saying, Mike, why the hell is that an important date? April 22nd just sounds like one thing. Far away. Well, yeah, it is a little far away, but Star Wars Celebration next year that takes place in Japan goes from April 18th to April 20th, meaning Andor Season 2 will premiere 2 days after Star Wars Celebration ends. And that means Star Wars Celebration 2025 is going to be jam-packed with Andor Season 2 news. We're going to get teaser trailers, interviews with the cast, and likely the people who are there in Japan are going to get exclusive looks at Andor before it releases. This is very similar to what happened about a year and a half ago at Star Wars Celebration in London in 2023. The video game Jedi Survivor that follows Cal Kestis was set to release a few days after Celebration that year. And all the marketing and all the focus for that Star Wars Celebration was towards Jedi Survivor, promoting the game, and clearly the numbers don't lie. That game sold a shitload of copies. And that's why this April 22nd, 2025 release date for Andor Season 2 is enormous. The first season of Andor might be one of the greatest written Star Wars projects of all time, and yet so few Star Wars fans even watched it. It comes in as one of the lowest viewed Star Wars shows ever. There's probably a number of reasons for this, but one of the biggest ones is the marketing for Season 1. So many fans didn't even know what Andor was, or even that it was a Star Wars show. Hell, I'm sure some fans who even watched the show didn't know it was a Star Wars show for the most part. The lack of Force and lightsabers make it very hard to tell. But marketing is a big deal, and Andor Season 1 did not get nearly enough marketing, clearly, and the views told the story. So with Season 2, Disney is not going to make the same mistake twice. They're going to put all the power they have into marketing this show by putting it directly after Star Wars' biggest celebration of the year, Star Wars Celebration. So all Star Wars fans across the globe are going to know that Andor Season 2 is coming. So April 22nd, 2025 is the perfect placement for Andor Season 2. Because let's not forget, Andor is the only live-action Star Wars project set to release next year. We've been eating good lately as Star Wars fans with multiple live-action shows every single year since 2019. Granted, Andor is going to be 12 episodes, so it will run for quite some time. But even 12 episodes only takes you to about July, and then you got nothing else for the rest of the year. At least unless some animated show or something is announced at Star Wars Celebration, which is probably likely.
Not bloody likely!
Now this release date is great, but that's not the only information we learned about Andor Season 2 this weekend. It's been confirmed that this second season will be just like the first and have 12 episodes, different from the usual 8-episode series that we find on Disney Plus for Star Wars. The Mandalorian was 8 episodes, Ahsoka was 8 episodes, The Acolyte was 8 episodes, Skeleton Crew is going to be 8 episodes, but Andor Season 1 and Andor Season 2 are both going to be 12. Now, also, just like the first season, Andor Season 2 will work in 3-episode arcs. However, there's a difference here. Every 3-episode arc in Andor Season 2 will be a different year, meaning there will be a year time jump in between every 3 episodes. That means this second season will focus on 4 major events that happen within these 4 years. We're not going to dilly-dally around in this second season. All of the setup and groundwork for this character of Cassian and all his friends has already happened in Season 1, and now Season 2 is just all going to be about the payoff. Now, there was a poster of Cassian Andor himself shown at D23 in Brazil, and that poster actually reveals something very important in this upcoming second season. And it's not Cassian himself, it's not what he's wearing or anything, it's what's behind him, as this confirms that the Yavin 4 base will be in Andor Season 2.
Thank you!
Yavin 4, first introduced in A New Hope in 1977, is the Rebel base that almost gets blown up by the Death Star. So Andor Season 2 is going back to the roots of Star Wars, back to the original Rebel base. But we've seen this base fairly recently in Star Wars, and that was in Rogue One. So it makes sense that the Rebels will be on Yavin 4 in this second season. However, this allows for many familiar faces to show up in this second season. When you talk about a rebellion this close to the original trilogy, you can't leave out the names of Bail Organa and Leia Organa. Bail is seen on Yavin 4 in Rogue One, and he has always been a big part of the rebellion, even in the time of the prequel trilogy, as he worked alongside Leia's real mom, Padme, and Mon Mothma to rebel against Palpatine. So it would make a lot of sense for Bail Organa to make an appearance in this second season. Now, before we go too crazy on who could possibly appear in this second season, we do know of 2 confirmed appearances. The first one being the fan favorite droid from Rogue One, K2SO. Now, by the time of Rogue One, Cassian and K2SO are best friends. K2 is his co-pilot, but in the first season of Andor, K2 is nowhere to be seen. And the second familiar face that we know for a fact will be in this second season is Orson Krennic, the director, the man in charge when it comes to this Death Star. We know his fate is with that same Death Star, but in the time of Andor Season 2, he is definitely still alive. Which leads me to some crazier possible appearances. If we're seeing Director Krennic in the Death Star in this second season, then it would make sense to see the architect behind the Death Star, Galen Erso, Jyn Erso's father. And if we're hanging out with the Empire so much, then it could lead to the possible appearance of Lord Vader and Palpatine themselves. Now, before you start going, whoa, Mike, what are you freaking talking about? Vader and Palpatine in Andor Season 2? Did you not watch Andor Season 1? They don't bring in legacy characters like that. Vader is in Rogue One, talking with Krennic, who we just confirmed will be in Season 2, and the Death Star is Palpatine's child. You don't think he's gonna check up on it every once in a while? And if that's not enough, Palpatine can show up in the Senate. Mon Mothma is a main character in Andor Season 1, and she will continue to be in Andor Season 2. She's a very big political figure on Coruscant, and she could just go face to face with the Emperor himself, Palpatine, in the Senate. Now let's go back to the good guys for a second. If you know me, you know I'm a huge Star Wars Rebels fan, so I can't leave out the possibility of seeing the Ghost crew. And yes, there's evidence to back that up. The Ghost and Chopper are both seen at the Rebel base on Yavin 4 in Rogue One, so it is highly likely that at some point the paths of Hera Syndulla and Cassian Andor likely crossed. And it just so happens last year, Hera Syndulla made her way to live action in Ahsoka Season 1. So there's a lot of likely familiar faces that could show up in this second season, but we can't talk Andor Season 2 without talking about characters who aren't gonna make it. Characters that are going to kick the bucket. Characters that already have one foot in the grave. Because guess what? A lot of these characters that we see and fall in love with in Season 1 are not making it to the end of Season 2. There's going to be a lot of very sad deaths in this second season. Characters like Bix and Luthen are very likely to die, as they are not seen in Rogue One or in the original trilogy. And especially Luthen, who has such a big role in the rebellion, would have been seen in Rogue One at some point. But this is all great news for Andor Season 2. That April 22nd, 2025 release date is the perfect spot to have everybody hyped up to go watch that show after Star Wars Celebration that goes from April 18th to April 20th in Japan. And the likelihood of seeing so many familiar faces just keeps getting higher and higher. But tell me what you think in the comment section below. Do you think we will be seeing characters like Bail Organa, Leia Organa, or even Palpatine himself? And who do you think is not making it out alive in this second season? Now, Andor, although it's still about 5 months away, is not the next Star Wars project. Skeleton Crew comes out in 23 days, and we just got a brand new trailer for it last week. But don't worry, because I broke down the entire thing in this video right here.